Hi everyone, and welcome to today's second ever Wirex webinar. That's right, live stream. So today we are going to go through and talk about all of the things that are important for you as investors. I'm joined on the couch today by Pavel Matveev. He is our co-founder and co-CEO of Wirex. My name is Martin Best, I'm the CMO, and we're also joined by Lottie Wells. She is our head of events and PR. So if you're an investor, hopefully you already know this, but we have a community forum. And in that forum, we spent the last 10 days asking you guys to submit different questions, things that you want to know about Wirex that we're going to put to Pavel. It's great that, Pavel, you're here in the studio this time, because last time, unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, Pavel was actually locked in a hotel room at the last minute, and we had to pre-record him, submit questions. It was a bit clunky, and it wasn't really very informal. So today we're hoping we'll be a little bit more informal and be able to hear Pavel, in his own words, react to your questions. And with that in mind, I know some of you are going to win some WXT if your name is read out as a question. So I will try to make sure that I reference the usernames as I go through today as well. So what we're going to do over the next hour is we're going to be reviewing Q1, talking about what we did, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing in Q2 and what's ahead for the rest of the year. Before we start, and before I come to you, Pavel, I also just wanted to reassure all of you that I do actually read the community forums. And as proof of this, I want to share some feedback I got from Seth. So Seth, if you're watching this live, I did read it and I just wanted to share the feedback I got. It was either good feedback or a brutal takedown. I'll let you be the judge. But Seth said my performance was the worst, most cringeworthy thing I've ever witnessed. It was like a badly produced attempt at Good Morning Britain, but much less informative and certainly less entertaining. It did, however, look like it cost a fair amount of money. Please ensure investors' funds are better allocated in future. Well, Seth, firstly, thank you for the feedback. I will not be becoming a full-time TV presenter on the back of that. But what I can reassure you about is this. Firstly, the studio that we're using today, it is great. It's in London, but we're filming 10 different pieces of Wirex content. So we're using it primarily for marketing reasons. So the cost of this studio for the investors, practically zero. Secondly, if I'm presenting it, that should reassure you we're not spending a lot of money, because clearly I'm not a professional presenter. But what we do hope it does do is show the real us. It shows Wirex, the people that are working in the company, and you have a truthful representation of what we think, what we're trying to do for the business, and hopefully for you guys as investors as well. And this is our way to try to be as accessible as we can to all of you as investors. So with that in mind, why don't we go over to Pavel, finally. Welcome. You're not locked in a hotel room now, which is great that you're here. Why don't we just talk quickly about Q1 in terms of cryptocurrencies, because the bull run, everyone's been talking about it. It's actually managed to get into the mainstream news, BBC and so on. From a Wirex perspective, how do you think the bull run has gone?
Sure. So, well, first of all, I think it's good to have a discussion in person, and it's easier for us, and I think it's more transparent for our investors. Talking about the Q1, I think we discussed this briefly last time, but Q1 in terms of the growth, performance metrics, financial metrics, is all-time high for us. With the growth, there is certain challenges, scaling customer support, increased scrutiny from regulators, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes. But I just wanted to, a lot of investors ask about metrics, financial metrics, and maybe be a bit more transparent. So I wanted to share a couple of things, a few figures with the audience. Well, first of all, Wirex at the moment have 3.5 million customers. We actually will be reaching 3.6 either this week or next week. But in terms of the growth, I keep saying, okay, we're growing fast, all-time high, and so on and so forth, but what it actually means. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So in Q1, talking about revenue numbers at the moment, in Q1, Wirex net transactional revenue was $14 million US dollars. A bit of disclaimer, it's unaudited numbers because it's quite recent period. In April alone, net revenue was 12.5 million. So you can see the dynamic of the revenue. And if you compare Q1 with Q4, we see 83 Q1 21, Q4 20. In Q1 21, we see 83% increase in terms of net revenue compared to Q4 20. 2020. As you can see, there is a huge growth in terms of the revenue. As I mentioned, Q1 was all-time high in terms of the number of customers we acquired in terms of the revenue we generated. And the good thing is that this dynamic continues, and we hope we will see even higher numbers very soon.
That's brilliant, Pavel. And also, I think for all of the investors watching, that net revenue number is a really important one, because that's also the what we're getting after all of our costs and so on associated. So really good to see that. And it seems that Wirex is taking its fair share of the positive interest in cryptocurrencies and the bull run that we've seen. When we saw the pre-recordings of you last time, because you weren't able to be here in the studio with us in January, we heard about the MasterCard and Extras launch. I thought maybe you could just give us a quick update on EEA region. So EEA is effectively European Economic Area. For us, we also include the UK within that in terms of the territory. We launched MasterCard in March, and that was a big thing for us. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how that launch went.
Sure. So Q1 was quite eventful in terms of the new products and new features. So MasterCard was one of them. We call it MasterCard, but it's actually more than just a new card. So MasterCard was for us, it was very heavy in terms of resource-heavy product and projects where, well, we spent probably a year developing this. So MasterCard is the first product which launched under our own MasterCard license. So we have direct relationship with the scheme, MasterCard in this case. Well, secondly, the new product has a lot of new cool features. Well, first of all, it offers zero-fee FX. There is no cap, so you can, if you're traveling, well, people probably don't travel that much at the moment, but we expect that they will be traveling more. So if you travel across European Union or just in Europe, you will save a lot of money on FX fees. There is a free ATM. Every month you can withdraw money from ATM without any fees, up to £400. I think this limit is one of the highest in the industry. There is also things like cryptoback or auto cryptocurrency conversion. So you don't need to load your card anymore as it used to be. You can just link your accounts and the conversion will happen automatically. And another small thing, but it was very, very annoying for a lot of customers, is monthly fee. So we just removed monthly fee with a new product. So in terms of the launch itself, it was successful. I have to say that MasterCard was quite supportive with the launch. They helped a lot with PR and marketing effort. And at the moment we have, I think, 130 thousands of cards issued in EEA, and people keep ordering new cards. So this was quite a big product for us, and it was migration exercise when all customers migrated from Conti's card to a new product. The second product we launched, Extras, just maybe recap for people who are not familiar. Extras is our reward system where we pay people crypto back. Again, with rewards, with Extras, people are now able to earn crypto back, not just in-store transaction, but online as well. We pay up to 2% crypto back. It really depends on your plan. But we also pay up to 12% saving bonus on your WXT holdings. So if you hold certain amount of WXT, we will pay 12% saving bonus annually on these holdings. Both products and features was successful. We see that the numbers keep growing. There are more transactions every day. There are more Extras memberships ordered every day. So overall, I think it was a success. We keep improving these products, keep fixing bugs. We do have a lot of plans. We're planning to add additional perks to Extras program, for example. And in April, we launched, there was double crypto back campaign, which was received quite well by our customers. So.
Great, thanks a lot, Pavel. And also, I think I mentioned in the investors seminar last time around that there was something like 35 bank accounts in the whole of the UK, for example, that offered more than 1% interest. So offering 12% interest on your balances is obviously a really interesting proposition for a lot of consumers, and hopefully will become even more attractive as the year goes on. And also what you mentioned there about the ATM withdrawals, many people haven't been travelling, but the fact that you can do FX-free exchanges, commission-free, and then also withdrawal, I'm sure is going to be really interesting for users during the summer months as well, when we're finally out of lockdown. Okay, great. So one other thing I'd love to ask you is about APAC. So we've spoken a bit about Europe, and it seems like it was a really good quarter for Wirex and the MasterCard launch, and thanks to them. How is APAC performing so far?
Well, APAC is a bit younger market for us, and it's a bit smaller. It's around 30% of our total client base. So far, Asia-Pacific market has been growing quite well, exponentially actually on a quarterly basis. So every quarter we've been doubling our client base. The trend continues. Again, we see very kind of similar effect in Q1 as we saw in Europe. So more activity, more new clients, more activity from existing clients, higher revenue, and so on and so forth. We did have some interesting partnership in Asia Pacific, so a recent partnership with Booking.com, where our customers can enjoy, I think, up to 6 or 8% discount on bookings. I think overall it helps. The dynamics, it's very similar to what we see in Europe. And again, yeah, we hope it will continue.
Great stuff. I'd like to just go back to the UK for a moment, because many investors have asked a question. This is something that's coming up a few times with regards to the FCA and the UK. So there was a press release, which in fact, Lottie, you put out a few weeks back, where we explained to people that we were putting a temporary pause on acquiring new users within the UK, and also there were some restrictions in terms of topping up existing accounts, and then also some conversions that were restricted as well. Could you maybe just shed a bit more light on the press release that Lottie put out a few weeks back, and just talk a little bit about how that came about and what the context of it was?
Sure. I'll probably start with just providing a bit more context in terms of regulatory situation in UK, because not many people are familiar with what's happening, and you actually can't find this information on the internet. So first of all, FCA regulator in UK requires all crypto-related companies, or companies providing crypto-related services, to be registered with FCA. There are two types of registration at the moment. There's a permanent registration for companies who got this registration maybe a year ago, before they actually started doing any business. And there are around 80 companies who has a temporary registration. The company which are not registered with FCA currently, if they provide cryptocurrency related services, it's illegal. So FCA was quite clear about this. If you're not on a register and you provide the services, it's illegal. And it's quite surprising, but if you in the UK, for example, and you open your App Store or Google Pay finance category, you will see that top 2 or 3 applications providing crypto services, they are not registered with UK, which according to FCA is illegal. So all these companies who have temporary registration, they go through the process where FCA assess the controls, procedures, and so on and so forth. This temporary registration will last until 9th of July. By that date, a company will either get a permanent registration, or they won't get a license. It's not a license, but it's registration. In terms of Wirex, so FCA came to us about a month ago with some recommendation on how we can upgrade and improve our processes and procedures. At this point of time, Wirex have decided, and it's quite important to understand that Wirex volunteered to apply restriction on certain activities in the UK. And I'll explain why we decided to do that. Well, there are basically 2 reasons. The first reason is that Wirex's goal has been always to be 100% compliant. So the idea is that we we want to operate 100% compliant, and we want to satisfy regulator. It has been our strategy for a long time, with different regulators in different regions, and we continue to do so. The second reason for us was the reason that Wirex has e-money license in UK, and there are a lot of depends on this e-money license. There is MasterCard principal license, Visa principal license, and they're all kind of interconnected. So for us, we just wanted to eliminate any potential risk for these licenses. So that's why we decided to apply these restrictions on activities. Okay, how long it will take, and what's the next steps? At the moment, we just upgrading our systems and processes and procedures, and this is our top priority. And we're trying to improve this as soon as physically possible. In fact, we're actually having a call with FCA next week on Tuesday, and we will see if what we implemented meet expectation of FCA. If it's the case, then all the restrictions will be lifted. If it will be kind of certain further recommendations, it might take a bit longer.
Great stuff. Okay, thanks. And I think that ties into some of the comments and questions we've had from some investors, which was specifically around maybe why there wasn't more notice and so on. But I guess my interpretation from that is when you have discussions with the FCA is an acronym. It stands for the Financial Conduct Authority. It's a UK-based institution and regulator. So you can't transparently share real-life discussions with them. So it has to be kind of once a decision is made. So I guess that's why there was a relatively abrupt notice period before we had to make the statement. Would that be correct?
Yeah, more or less. But I think we need to look at this situation from a couple of angles. So from a shareholder point of view and from investor point of view, this decision is absolutely right. I do understand that there are a lot of inconvenience for UK customers, and we understand it's temporary, and I do apologize for this inconvenience. But from shareholder point of view, it's a right decision. We removing our risk, short-term and mid-term risk for our license, for our partnerships, and so on and so forth. And in fact, we actually want to be the first company who got the full registration. Again, as I mentioned before, there is 80 companies at the moment with temporary registration. None of them got a full registration yet. So all these companies are going through kind of a similar process. And most importantly, based on requirements I've seen, the bar for these requirements is very, very high. My personal prediction, most of these companies who currently hold temporary registration won't be able to obtain full registration. So it means there will be fewer companies operating in UK, and Crypto UK, which is Crypto Association in United Kingdom, was quite vocal about that some companies and many companies will be leaving UK. What it means for Wirex, well, it means that there will be fewer competitors, less competition, and the market will be mature and more regulated.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pavel. So hopefully that one has been cleared up a bit more for those questions. We did get lots of FCA-related questions, and hopefully that's covered it off. I do have now a few questions, and this is something that was missing from the Q1 webinar because obviously you weren't physically present. It was a bit difficult to organise a Q&A session, but I've got some questions. So the first one was actually from Kieran LWD. I'm reading out the actual username so you know that you've then, you're going to win some WXT, I think is the case. And David Greenhall, they were asking about the dates for the UK FCA restrictions which will be removed. So I think you kind of touched on that in your answer there, that we don't yet know, but we're having an exploratory call or a checkpoint phone call with the FCA next week where we'll get a bit more clarity. Is that correct?
Yeah, the plan is to lift this restriction as soon as possible. Again, as I mentioned, we're doing everything physically possible to meet expectation and lift restrictions, and we having a call, update call next week. Hopefully we'll have more news next week.
Great. Thanks a lot. So next question is from a gentleman, I think, or it could be a lady, I'm not sure, called Musibi88, rolls off the tongue. It would be good for Wirex to disclose company financial status, number of employees by location, expansion plan status, and IPO plan, if any. So I know that you might not necessarily want to give all of that information in this today, but are there any particular highlights you would like to share? I know you went through some of the top line numbers. I think also there's a lot of investors that are interested in IPO plans, things like this. Maybe you could elaborate a bit more.
Yeah, well, first of all, Wirex is regulated companies, audited companies, so our audited accounts available on Company House. Recent numbers in terms of the revenue I just shared, so in April, net transactional revenue was 12.5 million USD dollars, unaudited figures, because the period is quite recent. When we're talking about number of employees, there are around 300 employees. We've got probably 20, 25 open positions at the moment around the world. In UK, we've got around 50, 60 people. We've got majority of our people based in our R&D center in Kiev. We've got probably 5, 10 people in Singapore, a few people in the United States, a few people in Canada, and a few people in Ireland and Japan.
And a big shout out to New Zealand, where our head of marketing, Jenny Kong, she is a Kiwi and she's watching right now. So we have literally, I think every time zone is probably covered to some degree by a Wirex employee right now, which is great.
That's true. I can comment about IPOs as well, because we briefly discussed this on previous call. We're currently exploring, well, first of all, this is a great time to do an IPO because of the stock rising, and because we are kind of living in this, in a bit of bubble. As I mentioned before, we're exploring different IPO options. There are basically two main options. One is via SPAC, another one is more a kind of classic IPO or direct listing, as like Coinbase did recently. We're talking to a number of investment banks about these opportunities. At the moment, the main kind of bottleneck for us is that we need to migrate our audited accounts to US standards. And what it means we need to find an auditor who will re-audit us for last 3 years according to US standards. This is currently in progress. We're talking to one of the big 4 companies to do that, but the process will probably take 3-4 months. So this is a kind of the step is needed to move forward towards IPO.
Great.
And as we trying to be more and more transparent, and it's what our investors ask us to do, we will keep everyone updated about our plans regarding IPO.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Next question is from a gentleman, assuming might be Italian, Alfredo Sgotti. I apologise for that Italian accent. It says, I would like to know how other users will re-enter the IBAN for wire transfers and send them to the outside world. So I think what Alfredo is referring to there is there used to be IBAN payments that were enabled on his account and many other users, and that's temporarily been withdrawn. And I think that there are many users that are keen to see that reinstated. Is there any news on that?
Yeah, as we migrated to our own license with MasterCard, we temporarily lost some of the functionality. So this functionality currently being implemented, we're probably like 80-90% there. So the short answer, this functionality will be available very soon.
Great stuff. So Alfredo, you'll be able to use your IBAN very, very soon, hopefully. Next question is a bit of a longer one, and I think it's quite detailed, but it does touch on something that a few of the investors were asking, and it's a more technically based question as well, so I think it's good to put to you. So it's from a person called Axecoin, and Axecoin said, I'm under the impression that there are some deep technical issues at the basis of many problems. Otherwise, it can't be explained why we have the same issues recurring for months without a final solution. It looks like the problem cannot be solved with the current IT architecture and always has to be solved case by case. So I think what he's talking about there is really, is the IT architecture a problem, or is it just, is there other things going on in the background? So it's kind of a direct question, but I think it's good to be transparent and put it to you.
Yeah, well, probably it's a question where I need to be a bit more technical and talk about architecture. So there is no deep or fundamental problem with architecture. So the Wirex platform is a cloud native. So the cloud native means that the platform itself and infrastructure was designed to be in cloud. So for example, we have more than 500 different microservices. So microservice is a piece of functionality which can be duplicated if, for example, there is more workload. For example, if there are more exchanges happening at this point of time, we can automatically create more exchange microservices to handle the load. So in terms of the architecture, everything fine. As any growing business or fintech business, we do have some small legacy part of the system which we have to upgrade all the time, because when you grow in, we need to understand that the system designed for 1,000 people is very, very different from the system designed for 10,000 people, and then for 100, and then for 3 million, and so on and so forth. So this process is constant. You kind of keep upgrading, keep refactoring code, keep solving the kind of legacy bottlenecks. And another reason for some of the issues is third-party dependency. Wirex is very complex when it comes to IT infrastructure because we do have a lot of third-party integrations. And third-party integration is a possible risk, right? If something goes wrong with one of our partners and we integrate it with exchanges, FX brokers, bank account providers, Visa, MasterCard, a lot. So if something goes wrong with this integration, it affects overall user experience. For customers, it might look, okay, Wirex is not working, or there is something wrong with Wirex infrastructure, and it's not actually the case. And the only reason the only way to solve that is to take this integration in-house. And it's exactly what we did with MasterCard. So MasterCard is a good example where we control everything. What it means for us, we can create much more flexible products. So that's why with new MasterCard, you can convert currency. You don't need to load your card anymore. You can just link your account and conversion will be done automatically. But because we control entire infrastructure, it allows us to fix the issues quicker. So I think overall what you will see very soon that stability of a platform will increase.
Okay, great, thanks a lot. And nice for Axcoin that there's a CEO that can give a technical answer, because that's not always the case. I hope that isn't Axcoin who's now trying to come in the building to clarify it even more. Another question I have, and this is from Duxiri, I think that's pronunciation of the username. This is actually another hot topic from Q1 that we were trying to address, and it says, is there an update on the many complaints about customer service? Did you hire more people, and what actions are you taking to address all of the problems that has caused over the last few months?
Yeah, I started talking about that this bull run or crypto hype. There is a pros and cons of that. So scaling customer support was a challenge for us in Q1. It wasn't unique to Wirex because every crypto-related companies went through exactly the same exercise. But the good thing for us, we managed to clear backlog. And I'll give you an example. So in Q1, around January, February, the most of the customer complaints was coming from long verification. And the reason for that is that verification backlog was just too big. At some point, I think in January, we have probably 12,000 customers waiting for verification. The good thing, so we managed to clear the backlog at the moment, and we actually managed to provide 24 hours SLA for verification for 95% of cases. So this problem is gone. We also brought and trained more customer support representative. We also launched live chat in UK. The live chat should be available this week in Italy and Spain. And later on, it will be rolled out in all other countries as well. So overall, the customer experience, the customer satisfaction has increased dramatically.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. And I know that there are a lot of people asking that question, so great to have the update, especially on clearing that 12,000 backlog to now being 0, which is a great achievement. So thank you. There was a question which came, which might actually be one I should answer, which was from KW Cheng 2. Given that there have been a growing number of issues related to system changes Wirex has made, do you guys consider setting up a small group of real friendly customers that can be your beta testers? This is actually a great point. It's a great question, and it's something that we have started to put into process. So during December, we did our first ever beta focus groups where we were actually looking at some testers, talking to some of our existing core crypto or just fintech users and asking them questions, and then submitting some UX designs and interfaces for their feedback. We now have a product owner called Tony. He's based in the London office, and that's a new position that we created on the back of actually the crowdfunding. So we actually have someone who's a bit more of a commercially focused product owner. He's joined by Maria, and we also have another position in the team as a product manager that's going to come in and support those guys. And they're looking a lot more at the way that the product works from a UI and a UX perspective, not just the technical back end. So what we're hoping to do over the next couple of months is actually set up a bit more of a formalized structure and put that in place. And so, yeah, it's a great idea and something that we've taken on board thanks to your suggestions as well. All right, so that's covered Q1. If, by the way, you notice myself and Lottie freezing, shivering, it's incredibly cold in here due to COVID restrictions. There's no heating on, the windows have been open, and I'm trying my best not to shake and drop the iPad. But we want to talk to you about Q2. I know that also there's a big announcement that we'll come on to in a minute, Pavel. Unfortunately, it's not an IPO, so stay calm there if anyone's watching. But still an interesting announcement. Before we talk about that, can I just ask you about USA? So in the Q1 session, you were talking about USA launch. It was imminent. It's been put back a little bit. Can you add a couple of sentences on that?
Yeah, if you're following us on social network, we recently announced that we partnered with a company called Zero Hash. So Zero Hash will provide the kind of licensing coverage for us in order to be able to launch in every state. And in terms of a product and in terms of functionality, so the product is currently being tested in United States, in different states by beta testers. So I think we're very, very close to a launch date. And again, we will keep everyone posted, but we are basically one step away from the launch.
Would I be right in saying that, and obviously I'm working Wirex, I know some of the answer to some degree, but from a technical perspective, the US is a bit different from launching. It's not just about taking the European products and putting it in the US, is it?
Well, there are certain differences. Well, first of all, it's a different card program. We work with Visa in the United States. We have 2 banking partners in the United States. Regulatory situation is slightly different because every state has their own licensing requirements. And when you exchange in crypto to fiat, it's considered money transmitter activity not in all states, but in most of the states. And I think at first glance, it might look very, very similar, but actually on the background, underneath, on the back end, there are a lot of differences.
Another thing which we spoke about in Q1 and you gave a short overview of was X accounts. So this was supposed to be launched in tandem with Extras, the updated reward program. X accounts is something that you were talking about in some detail, but could you maybe just talk a little bit about what that product is, or the feature rather, and when that's going to be launched for all users?
So X accounts, it's a new product. We're very excited about this product. With the X account, our customers will be able to receive interest on the cryptocurrency and the stablecoin holdings. So we committed to provide the highest rates in the industry. So on crypto, you will be able to earn up to 10%, and you will be able to generate up to 16% on your stablecoin holdings, which is probably one of the highest in the industry. We're also planning to offer insurance with this product, so you can be sure that your funds are secure and safe. And this product is very similar to United States in terms of readiness. It's basically, we've been testing it at the moment, and we planning to launch, and we hope we will launch this month.
Okay, Good to hear. Well, in a way, I think that some of the things you mentioned there might tie into a question we have from one of our investors. It's Jim Barkley, JB6241. I hope that's not your PIN number or something, but it is your username, so that's what it is. It says, I've now enrolled with crypto.com, and I'm getting free Spotify and Netflix to buy their CRO tokens. Shame on you. How will you entice me and others back? So I guess in a way, some of the things that you spoke about there with X accounts and extras, that's part of your plan. I
won't be commenting other company and their functionality, but in terms of what Wirex is currently doing, right? So we keep adding new features and new functionality, new tokens, new cryptocurrencies, X accounts, a way to generate passive income on your holdings, the new MasterCard product, or the product we have in Asia Pacific, which is much more convenient and much more user-friendly than everything exists on the market, where you have this freedom where you can convert currency to another at any point of time. Also, we don't require you to stake coins to get just a card. Cards available to everyone. So I think overall, we do believe our user experience is much better. The rates for new products will be much higher compared to market rates. And I think it's quite important, maybe not for everyone, but for some people, we do everything in regulated way. We do see regulation and licensing as a part of our business strategy. And as crypto market getting more and more regulated, it means that unregulated companies, or companies, for example, which is not on crypto register, they will disappear relatively soon. And only companies which is compliant and regulated will stay. This is our part of our mid and long-term strategy.
I think that's a good point. So, Jim, what you can hear there is we actually see regulation and making sure we're compliant as part of the proposition, as part of the offer that we have. But also, if you hang in there, hang tough, and you'll see that with X accounts and extras, huge amount of benefits coming in terms of passive income, crypto back, and other things coming along the pipeline as well. This is another, maybe a bit more of a technical one for more core crypto users and people that really like doing exchanges. It's from Renas_the, or THE. It says, is there a plan to update buying, selling options with limit orders?
There is a plan, and it's currently being developed. So we plan to add limit orders and price alerts very soon. So it's currently being developed.
Great. Brilliant stuff. Next question from Sarisa. What would Wirex do to make hodling WXT for everyone great again? So I guess in a way that's touching into some of the plans that we have for X accounts.
Yeah, well, we recently launched Extras. It's a new reward system where you, as you WXT holder, you can generate up to 12% annually. You can also earn crypto back up to 12% on in-store and online transaction. But we have I just don't want to spoil announcement, but we have a lot of plans how we will reward WXT holders even more. So we will be, more perks, there will be higher rewards on certain activities, but there are a lot of things coming very soon.
Well, I think that actually is a perfect moment, and it ties in nicely. So talking about WXT, and we did want to make sure that this was an opportunity for investors to get some live new information. So we deliberately waited to have the global announcement for today. So Pavel, I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about some positive news for WXT that will hopefully also make people excited about it.
Yeah, just before I go there, and let me just maybe provide a bit of more context and background, and maybe not everyone's familiar with WXT, but WXT was created and was, first WXT was minted about 2 years ago, maybe 1.5 years ago. And WXT is a utility token which provides certain perks in Wirex system. And also you need to have WXT in order to buy Extras membership, which then unlock more perks for you. So WXT is a Stellar-based asset. So Stellar is known for its kind of payment use case. Different blockchains are good for different use cases. Some blockchains, they can cover more than one use case, but Stellar is good for payments, right? It's cheap, it's very fast when it comes to transferring value. So I can send funds, value to my friends anywhere in the world, almost at zero cost and almost instant. What we realized, not recently, but during our life cycle, is that apart from payment, there is a huge demand for other use cases, and these other use cases is DeFi, for example, so decentralized finance. So it's part of a reason. Another part of the reason is that we do have a lot of customers who were asking us, like, hey, when can we use XXT in DeFi applications? Reality is that, as I mentioned, different blockchains are good for different use cases. Stellar good for payments, but probably not that great for DeFi. And announcement we're doing today is that we've decided to migrate 20% of circulating supply, of total supply, 20% of total supply of XXT from Stellar to Ethereum. The idea is that people now can not just use XXT and focus on payment use case, but this new DeFi, decentralized finance use case, is available to them. So they can actually get this, best of both worlds. They can still use Stellar as a transport when they need to transfer value to their friends and family, for example, but at the same time they have access to new exciting DeFi world based on Ethereum. So at the moment, 20% of a total XXT supply will be on Ethereum, and 80% of the total supply will be on Stellar.
That's great, and it's great to have some live update for our investors who hear it first. The announcement is actually going out via press release, so Lottie's just by telepathic abilities, sending the information to our PR. So that will actually be announced today to all of the media as well. So the XXT being on the Ethereum network. For those people that aren't too familiar with the different networks and things, you just gave a bit of an explanation of Ethereum versus Stellar and why we've decided to split them. But can you just talk a little bit about what would that mean for a WXT holder in-app? So if you've got WXT, let's say within Extras, or you're earning crypto back in WXT, will that be affected at all? Will they have different kind of prices? How does that work?
So it's the same XXT. You can think about this as, funds in your bank account, and where you have just different ways to transfer this money, right? You can use, if you're in the UK, you can use faster payment, and you can use SWIFT. So it's basically two different transport layers, but within Wirex, XXT is XXT. It's not really connected to any blockchain. So the value will stay the same. So the crypto back and reward system will stay the same. What it means for customers that the customers in Wirex will be able to send and receive XXT via either Stellar or Ethereum. So if you want to use Stellar, you will be able to do it. If you want to use Ethereum, you will be able to do it. Having said that, this is our kind of day of announcement. So this functionality is currently not present in application, but we will enable this functionality in coming days. So all customers will be able to send and receive XXT via Stellar or Ethereum.
Great. So don't look in the app right now, but soon there'll be, whether it's an automatic update or you'll just have to update your app, and then you'll find it in the coming days. And we'll, of course, notify you, and please look out for social media updates and an email update as well on that one. So great. I just would like to spend just another 5 minutes or so just running through a couple of questions from the investors that we haven't got through yet. So one of them was from ENN_CEE, and it says, is Wirex planning on introducing any staking or loans?
Well, X accounts is a way to generate passive income on your holdings. So it's kind of alternative to staking. I think staking is more technical term, but the idea of X account is that we want to take this complexity away from the crowd, and we want to offer a product where you can generate interest, generate some bonuses on your holdings, which then will be available to general crowd. So you don't need to understand DeFi, you don't need to understand all this, technical details, but you can just do a double of clicks and start getting benefits. In terms of the loans, it's on our roadmap as well. So yeah, we are again, don't want to spoil any announcement, but it's there.
So maybe Q3 announcement, we'll see. We'll hold fire for that one. Great, thank you. This question is from, I'll try to pronounce it, Enoch HSU, or I don't know if that's a Scottish person, I'll say Enoch Hasu. Any plan of including other crypto, preferably those adopting different networks such as BSC?
We do have a lot of new currencies currently in pipeline. We have actually 20 currencies which we currently review. So there will be many more currencies very soon.
Great stuff. So, and in fact, there's already, I think, 2 or 3 which are being enabled as we speak. So please do check your, depending on where you're living around the world, those currencies are available to many territories, but not all of them. But if they are available where you're living, please check your inbox for email service updates from us. More currencies are going to be added as of last Friday and continuously in the months ahead as well. Next question was from Lidial. Will contactless payment be available for Wirex, MasterCard with Samsung Pay, Google Pay, etc.?
Short answer, yes. It takes a bit longer with Apple Pay because Apple Pay has a policy when it comes to, they define it open network. So open network, when application allow you to send and receive cryptocurrency, and Wirex is allowing you to freely send and receive cryptocurrencies in most of the countries. So short answer, yes, it just, the process takes a bit of time and we're just going through this, but all the functionality will be available in Wirex. Maybe in different times in different regions, but it will be there.
Great stuff. So we have a question here from Oleg Levchuk saying, what is MKR? What is Maker? So we do have a broad church of people in Wirex and in our investors as well. Some of them are core crypto, some of them are more fintech fans. And maybe you could just explain in a few sentences what Maker is.
Well, I can do it in one sentence. So Maker is a governance token of MakerDAO. So MakerDAO is a DeFi project. We have 2 tokens, DAI, which is basically both tokens are currently on Wirex. And MakerDAO, or MKR, was one of the tokens which we added quite recently.
Okay, great stuff. I think just one final question was maybe to talk about DeFi for us. So you've mentioned a few of the initiatives that we're bringing. What do you see in terms of the relationship between Wirex and, let's say, the fiat currencies, and then also DeFi and the role that Wirex will play in that environment as well? So
DeFi, it's quite trendy at the moment, and partial DeFi was one of the reasons of the crypto hype we currently see on the market. In short, DeFi is decentralized finance, basically all kind of traditional financial use cases put on a blockchain where everyone can access it. It's all done on kind of decentralized basis. At the moment, there are a lot of benefits people can get from DeFi, and usually it comes to generated interest, generated fee, if you provide liquidity to different pools. Or again, there are different use cases where you can borrow money, where you can lend money, and this sort of things. One of the challenges for DeFi is it's not very user-friendly when it comes to general crowd. So you need to understand, okay, this is custodian, non-custodian wallet. You need to keep your private keys secure and safe. So you need to take care about this. You need to understand what's the difference between Uniswap and 1inch, what's the are they doing and how it works, this sort of thing. So what we're planning to do, we're planning to take this complexity away from the end customer. And X account is one of a product which is using DeFi underneath, but we can use DeFi in secure, compliant way, and we can take this complexity away and offer people, our customers, very user-friendly product. They just don't need to understand technical details of blockchain, technical details of DeFi, and so on and so forth. So we strongly believe DeFi is the future of cryptocurrency and blockchain. It's one of the use cases. It's very interesting use case. Use case with a lot of potential, and we do believe it will be growing even more. We think it's at the top, but we actually think it's just the beginning for DeFi. Again, a lot of focus on DeFi at the moment, but our approach to that, we would like to take this complexity away from customers and offer them very user-friendly product.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Pavel. So I think that concludes all of the questions which we're going to throw at you for this session, but thanks a lot for sitting through it. So Lottie, over to you. I'm hoping that you're not completely frozen because it is quite cold here, and thanks a lot for your patience. But due to Pavel obviously not being here in the Q1 session, we needed to get quite a few questions answered by him from the investors. But welcome, Lottie. As a quick reminder, Lottie, she is our PR and comms lead for Wirex. And what we want to talk to you about today is just some of the activities that you've been doing, and we wanted to kick off with Women in Crypto. So this is something that you started for the first time in 2020 as a campaign initiative. I just wondered maybe you could talk a little bit about Women in Crypto 2020 and what was the inspiration behind the campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Women in Crypto campaign was built out of Wirex's mission to make crypto open to all and empower everyone to get involved in crypto, and obviously that includes women as well. So from there, we basically wanted to do something that encourages mass adoption of crypto, and recent statistics show that only 18% of our user base are actually female. So there's obviously a way to go if we're going to make crypto mass adopted. So from there, we basically realised that there are many women in fintech campaigns out and about, and there aren't really that many women in crypto ones. So there really is an opportunity for us to authentically put Wirex's mission into this and bring women into that sector.
Fantastic, thanks a lot. And can you maybe tell us a little bit more about, what was the campaign that consisted of in 2020? So what were the things, so maybe some of the highlights?
Yeah, so I guess the main mission of the whole campaign was to debunk that stereotype of crypto. So people often think of it being quite male-dominated, younger, and just having to have a sort of hardcore knowledge of crypto and the ins and outs of it. But we essentially wanted to show that there are a huge range of women already working and using crypto and celebrate those women. So what we did is used, there's a lot of women working at Wirex already. In fact, we have a 50-50 split in the marketing team itself. And we wanted to use those people and some of the network of female influencers in the crypto space to essentially produce authentic content that explains their testimonials and their stories and provides educational content for other women. So we created a Rising Women in Crypto Power List, which is essentially an award that we had 367 nominations for, and this is from over 50 countries, so it was a huge success, and we encouraged anyone that was doing inspiring things in the sector to put themselves forward, or one of their peers or colleagues. So from there we used a panel of judges, narrowed it down to the top 10 who were basically just doing really incredible things, and put them on a pedestal to show that anyone can get involved in crypto and use Wirex as a platform to spread this message.
Great stuff, and it's interesting, I've seen a lot of press announcements of some senior C-suite positions, for example, of fintech and crypto-related roles, and a lot of the women nominated have actually used that as part of their CV, so it shows that it's got more widespread adoption and recognition on different professional platforms. Talking about 2021, you obviously want to run the campaign again. How are you looking to grow women in crypto for this year?
Yeah, so as I said, 2020 was a huge success already, and it was our inaugural year. But what we did realise is there's huge area for growth and building on that success. So we want to be back bigger and better this year, and we will be running another Rising Women in Crypto Power List towards the end of the summer. So we've already started planning for this, reaching out to the network of women that were involved last year and some more as well. And in fact, George Coxon, COO of the Nano Foundation, is very keen to get involved again and has already been sharing her ideas. Aside from this, we'll be partnering with a charity such as Women That Code to further it even more and just continue this initiative year round. As I said, Wirex's core mission is to make crypto open to all, and this should be a year-round initiative, not just solely for the Women in Crypto campaign.
Thanks a lot. And I'm interested to also, on a personal level maybe, because you've been in Wirex, I think, just over a year. In April, you started in the company, not originally from a crypto background. So what's your personal experience of working in Wirex, and how has that affected your view of the campaign?
Absolutely. I think it's very important that I was involved in this campaign, and it is great that Wirex supports women to lead this campaign solely by themselves as well. And I think what's so important is that I, as you said, have only been working in crypto for a year. I've worked in fintech for about 5 years, but was only introduced to crypto when I first started at Wirex. And I think that's significant because we had this stereotype of crypto users, and I really didn't have much knowledge before I started, but basically I've just been reading and learning about the sector. And so I think as long as you are interested in learning about crypto and willing to read about it, and there's a whole exciting world of it to discover, and really anyone can get involved. So hopefully my story shows that anyone really can get involved in it.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Lottie. I'd also like to ask you a bit about the Stellar Development Foundation and a Wirex research paper. That's very difficult to say live without twisting your tongue. But Pavel, you were talking about the Stellar Foundation and WXT being on the Stellar network. We also did a research paper with them. And Lottie, I thought maybe you could just talk about the context to that research paper and what some of the findings were.
Yeah, so it was a really big part of our year last year doing this research, and essentially we worked with Stellar to carry out a research paper because they've been our partners since 2019 when we launched Stellar Lumens on our platform, and they share our mission to democratize access to crypto. So we reached out to them to find out a bit more about our user bases and their needs from the crypto sector. Essentially, we carried out a survey into both of our user bases and had over 3,000 responses, and found out some top-line information about their attitudes towards crypto, how they use it, and their predictions for the future of crypto as well. We pulled this into a 20-page report, which you can download from our blog, and it just had some really interesting findings, which I'll go on to share.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm also interested on this kind of idea of some of the stereotypes that you mentioned with women in crypto. It's kind of going against that stereotype that you don't have to be some kind of male geek in an attic that's expert on all of the trading and shorting and things. With regards to the Stellar research paper that Wirex put together with them, were there any specific things that jumped out as being interesting or unexpected?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just read out a few here. So it really does go against that stereotype that you talked about. And as we've talked about women in crypto, only 18% of our users were women, which we really were surprised about, as we thought there was more of a sort of equal gender split. From an age perspective, 57% of our users were 45 and over, which really was surprising because it shows that older generations are getting involved in crypto as well. 86% of our users said that they felt safe using crypto, which is good because it flies in the face of the negative stereotype that a lot of people have with the crypto space. And it's good to know that users feel safe putting their money with our products as well. And finally, stablecoins, which a lot of people are talking about at the moment from central bank digital currencies as well. Only 25% of our user base did actually say they'd heard of them. So we've got a long way to go until these are going to be adopted in the mainstream, and it shows some opportunities for us as well. So yeah, as I said, you can download this full report from our blog. And I should probably mention that we will be building on this research in the coming months, and we will be working with Stellar again to do more research into outside of our user base and non-customers to understand their attitudes towards crypto as well.
Great stuff. All right, well, we'll leave it there. So Lottie, I know that you've got to run off shortly to our PR agency to talk about the exciting announcement about WXT being on the Ethereum network and a few more subsequent interviews for Pavel today. So I think we're going to wrap up there. I do hope everyone feels that we've been able to put a few more questions in person to Pavel, and hopefully the format is now a little bit less structured and a bit more informal so we can actually hear Pavel speak in his own words. And also great to have someone like Lottie here in person to talk about some of the other campaigns that we're doing in Wirex. So we're not just about, let's say, taking from the core crypto category, but also trying to contribute it to it as well with things like women in crypto and the Stellar and Wirex research paper. So thank you very much. We're going to come back in Q3 with another update. COVID permitting, we'll all physically be here again, so it means that we'll be able to do direct Q&As. If you're watching this and you're an investor and you feel frustrated, your question wasn't read out, please try and contribute in the forum. Go and find the wirexapp.com community forum. You can find it from our main website or just Google it. Hopefully you're already a member. You can then pose different questions, you can ask different things, and we'll try to pick up on them in the next quarter. So that's it from our side. So Lottie, thank you so much. Pavel, thanks a lot for a 50-minute grilling that you survived, and see you all in the next session.